What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I'm here today to do another installment in my Essential Excellence series, basically where I discuss albums within the metal world that I feel are absolutely flawless or near perfect and don't need any sort of perfect score to justify it, in my opinion. Recently, I did a tournament-style competition as to determine what album was going to be discussed, and there were 8 different choices that I had in mind, and I pretty much left the decision within your hands to decide what album was going to be discussed. And overwhelmingly, the one album that got the most votes is the one that we're going to discuss in this video. And that album is Under the Sign of the Black Mark by Bathory. This was released on May 11th, 1987 on Black Mark Productions, and to just get things straight out of the woodwork, if you're a black metal fan, you have to know who Bathory is, or are. I mean, this is probably one of the most well-respected, well-known, and revered figures within the great worlds of metal, black metal, and pretty much the whole metal culture in general. I mean, the mighty Quorthon, rest in peace. I mean, this guy has been responsible for some very, very revolutionary and pioneering music. Some would say he pioneered the black metal sound. Of course, there's that old saying that Venom coined the term black metal, but Bathory created the sound. And I'm pretty much within that sort of epidemic that believes that Bathory helped pioneer the sound of black metal. Of course, the first 4 Bathory albums are absolutely mint, in my opinion. The Debut, Self-Titled, The Return, the album that we're going to get into discussing in a little bit, Under the Sign of the Black Mark, and Blood, Fire, Death. And then moving on into the later 90s and in the early 2000s, we got to the more Viking-themed sort of releases. Hammerheart, Twilight of the Gods, Requiem, to even the 2 Nordland albums. I mean, Quorthon had such a huge, huge, everlasting impact within the black metal world, and branching out into many different musical styles. But let's get on to Under the Sign of the Black Mark. There are a lot of great albums within Bathory's discography, but to me personally, Under the Sign of the Black Mark is the quintessential Bathory release, because it starts off very, very deep and very dark with the song Nocturnal Obeisance. Pretty much a cinematic sort of vibe, getting you very comfortable, so to speak, getting ready to get into the adventure and journey that's with this album. And for the next 9 tracks and 35 minutes to follow that, you just get a little bit of what you would best know Bathory for. Some sensational riff work, really, really fast-paced drumming, very evil, wretched sort of vocal stylings. I mean, each Bathory album that has been released, I mean, prior to this, seemingly got better and better. I mean, the Self-Titled, of course, had that really raw, low-fidelity sort of style and production. Then you get on to The Return, things seem to be a little bit better and a lot more nuanced. This time around, it continued on in that sort of vein, and it pretty much was a very, very warm and destructive sort of sounding record. I mean, once you get onto tracks like Massacre and Woman of Dark Desires, you really got the full Bathory experience with those particular tracks. I mean, there's just a lot of great, great influences going on with this album. Not only do you have the almost epic sort of black metal qualities, but you also have elements of heavy metal, speed, and thrash metal elements going in there, relaying to the more faster-paced moments of this album. I mean, some of the short songs that appear on this album, like Massacre and Chariot of Fire. I mean, just the length, just how quickly paced some of those songs are just absolutely amazing. But then you get on to more well elaborated tracks like Call from the Grave and Enter the Eternal Fire, which I consider one of my all-time favorite Bathory songs. I mean, just the bell you hear on that song, and then just the way everything moves forward on that particular song, it is just so beautiful sounding. I mean, the guitar work on this album is just so immaculate sounding. I mean, you get black metal riffs, heavy metal influenced riffs, and it just really, really sounds amazing. The solo work sounds absolutely stunning, but yet it adds a more cinematic quality to an already epic sort of album. I mean, even the album cover in itself is a beauty to behold. I mean, just this really muscular looking guy standing on what seems to be some sort of a cliff or mountaintop of some kind, or whatever that thing is. I don't know what the hell he's standing on, but I think it's a really, really awesome album cover. But moving back on into the music, I really, really love the way the guitar work and bass work is structured on this album. I really, really think it's amazing, and it's definitely a joy to listen to. Of course, the drumming is very, very top-notch. I love the fast-paced moments of the drums, just the way everything is syncopated and the way everything sounded on that record. It's just an absolutely amazing sounding drum performance, very fast-paced, and then once again mentioning the more methodical, lengthier tracks like once again going back to Call from the Grave and Enter the Eternal Fire, to even a track like 13 Candles. Just the paces of those particular songs are just absolutely perfection. I just love how those songs are executed drum-wise. And of course you have Quorthon's very, very recognizable vocal style, very evil, very demonic sounding, but yet he is the master storyteller. And the stories that he weaves on Under the Sign of the Black Mark are very, very incredible. I mean, just his vocal performances on the first half of this album just really, really get to you. Then going to a track like Equimanthorn, just his battle cries on that one particular song are just absolutely phenomenal. I just love his conviction on that one track. And then moving back up to Call from the Grave, and then moving back down to Enter the Eternal Fire. Just some incredible vocal work going on here. Incredible vocal style, incredible storytelling techniques. I really, really love that aspect about Under the Sign of the Black Mark. And pretty much it ends as shortly as it pretty much began. It ended with an intro. It began with an intro, and then it ended with a very quick and brief outro, pretty much leading you on to the next Bathory release that would soon be to come. That, of course, being The Return. But overall, 27 years later, this album is still an amazing album to listen to. This is a very, very influential piece of black metal, fully representative of the Swedish black metal style. Very, very moving, very, very powerful, very influential, and just an absolute head-banging black metal masterpiece. I love Under the Sign of the Black Mark, and I definitely would consider it the quintessential Bathory release. But yeah. Let me know what you think of Under the Sign of the Black Mark, and let me know where this album falls within your Bathory discography. Do you consider it the best? Do you consider it the least best? I mean, everybody loves this album. I would say everyone loves this album. I can't think of somebody that wouldn't be a fan of it, but hey, to each his own, you know. But Under the Sign of the Black Mark is an amazing album and will still be amazing for many, many more years and decades to come. So, Hail Quorthon, I'm going to conclude this review. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for joining my channel, and until the next time, Army Hill out.